light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Love, getting more out of life. Love, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Hello, welcome to the House of Wellness. My name is Luke Darcy and I'm here with my great friend Jo Stanley. Welcome, Jo.
Oh, Darcy, it's always a delight to be here with you, and I'm especially excited for today's show as there's an adorable, very special guest we have coming in later.
International Guide Dog Day is happening this week, Jo, so we have to have a puppy come in, no doubt about it. Guide dogs are just extraordinary, but it never ceases to amaze me how smart they are in general. Any dog, even our Staffy Dennis, surprises me from time to time. What about Daisy? How's she going these days? Normally she's eating something, the couch or something else.
I feel like you've really typecast her. You've pigeonholed her. She was a puppy that ate lots of things like the couch and the sprinkler system and all of our shoes.
Anything in the last couple of months?
No, she's 2 now. She's in the sweet spot.
So
she's
you can
learned.
leave your shoes out?
No, I would never leave shoes lying around. Nothing lying around. But she is a Labrador, which is why it's amazing to me that she's the same breed as most guide dogs. I'm just not sure how Daisy would have gone at guide dog training, is all I'm saying. But she's special to us.
We'll discuss that later on. Let's get started with one of the most life-changing, inspirational characters that I've ever met, Jo. Wim Hof, better known as the Iceman, is a Dutch extreme athlete, and I was very lucky to spend some time with him when he was in Australia a couple of years ago, and he swears by the power of breathing the right way and the benefits of plunging into the ice for better health and well-being. He's actually set Guinness World Records for immersing himself in and swimming under the ice.
Cold water therapy has been around for centuries, and we know you love an ice bath, Darcy. We see you sitting in one every time we see the opening titles to our show, and that was with Wim Hof, right?
Well, I actually hated the ice baths, Jo. I really found it incredibly painful, but broke through on the back of that time with Wim Hof. I'm not the only one, Jo, that's out there. There's an army of Wim Hof believers, and one of those is Victoria's Mark Kluwer, whose life was transformed by the Iceman Wim Hof. Mark runs retreats around the country that incorporate meditation and ice baths. And Jo, you took a little bit of convincing. You weren't overly keen, but I managed to get you on board and you gave it a go. Well done.
Well, I do prefer my baths to be scented, candlelit and hot, Darcy, and I don't know where the champagne was. I did put in the order. It was a shame it never arrived. But I'm up for anything in the quest for better health, so I was happy to go along to take the plunge.
So today, at Elevated Springs, we're here to breathe deeply, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want to feel today out of the head space and into the heart. And by connecting to our bodies deep within, that's where the magic happens.
It was late in life when Mark Kluwer discovered the magic of the breath.
I was 50 at the time and I was uninspired. I had a family building company, but I was uninspired. I was searching. See, I grew up in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, and there was a strong view on what masculinity looked like, you know, and it obviously was not showing your emotions in public. It was a sign of weakness. And in 2016, the door for life opened for me. That opportunity was to go to this Wim Hof retreat. On the first day, we started to breathe, and I had this emotion, and it started, you know, in the first round of the breath, it started to just come, and the emotions started to flow. And I remember the feeling that, what are these people going to think of me? What are they going to... And what happened on that day, what happened is that they get around you and they support you. And I know it's used a lot at the moment, but being vulnerable with a group of people, that's where the growth is. And then there's acceptance, and it's changed my life.
Mark wanted to share this experience. He quit his job, learned from Wim Hof himself, and built Elevated Springs, a retreat space for anyone seeking change. And it all starts with the breath.
In through the nose and out through the mouth.
We breathe 20 to 25,000 times a day. Unconsciously, we're not even aware of it. So we come here and we consciously breathe.
Deeply in and let it go.
And by breathing and focus on your breath, breathing deep, you will connect with the body. You're walking through the forest and it's a beautiful summer's day. the sun shining brightly, there's a soft wind blowing in your face. Bare feet walking down this beautiful little path. The birds, kookaburras, galahs, magpies. What a beautiful day. So the breathing's so powerful, mentally, it puts us in that beautiful state and that euphoric state where we let go. There's a creek running in the background and you're at peace. Physically, also, we downgrade pain receptors. We alkaline the body, which really helps us, yeah? But what happens when we come out? We're focused, we've got this focus and clarity.
100% in through the nose and out through the mouth.
We've got an adrenaline build-up, so you're ready to go, but you're clear. And that gets us then into the ice, mate, see? It's there, you're there. Yes.
I don't know about you, Joe. I'm feeling pretty damn good after that.
I loved that. Loved it. I'm not sure I can see straight. You're kind of a bit of a lovely glow right now there.
Nah, I feel
Darcy.
great.
Yes.
Now we're about to tackle pretty serious ice bath.
The ice bath, it's a yardstick in life. Life is an ice bath, mate. If you can learn, because this is the most stressful state you'll probably be in, that if you can breathe in this state and come through the other side, you have total trust that you can then apply this to anything that's happening outside. Down there, mate. That's it. Cool. In you go, Joe. First thing is normal. Breathing fast. Oh, I can't, you know, because what's the head saying? I've got to get out. I can't do this. That's it, Joe. Hands on your thighs, straight in, up your neck. That's it, and breathe nice and slow. The body knows what to do, so you need to trust the body and start to slow the breath down. Your body will adjust. Breathing in and let go. Keep going, mate. You're doing beautiful. The body will adjust, Joe. And then it's usually about a minute and a half. Something happens. Breathing in and let go. You've got this. Yes, mate. Breathe in nice and slow. Okay. And after that minute and a half, the body, I'll say normalises, it's probably not in an ice bath, but there's a feeling of, I've got this. Are you nearly there, mate? Okay. Well done, guys. All right. Well done, Joe. Keep breathing, Darcy. If they want to get out, they get out, because jumping in an ice bath, to jump in, you're a winner. Everyone's different. Breathing in. Let it go. The cold is our warm friend. Head under, mate. Give the head a crack.
No, you can jam the head.
Yeah?
You can jam the head,
Okay.
Mark.
Okay,
There's, there's no joy in that.
No?
I'm feeling fine, but
Are
I'm
you?
not. Yeah,
That's
no, I'm
fine,
feeling
mate.
good, mate.
That's good.
But I'm
Always an invitation. Live in the moment. If you're in the head, as Wim says, you're dead. And that's what it's about. Coming in to the body. You bloody beauty.
Good effort, Darcy.
I feel genuinely bad for you now, Joe.
Why?
Because that was painful. Like, I've done that before, and that was not as painful as that first minute and a half. I was very close to joining you, and I admire your decision. I think you made a good call in the end.
I had a moment of clarity where I thought to myself, I think I've really, who am I doing this for? I've proved it to myself and I'm getting out and I'm proud of myself for making
You
that
are, and I
decision.
really respect it. There's this stupid competitive part of me, Joe, that says, oh, you can do that. You can find a way, even if it's generally painful. But
Well, you,
that was painful.
it was impressive work what you did in there.
I was sucking in some big breaths. But I love the breathing. And
Yes.
that was, and then I feel good now. I'm a bit of a high now.
Yeah, totally.
Genuinely a bit of a high now. So,
Yeah. Well, why don't you get back in?
Welcome back. Here on the House of Wellness, we support the ongoing fight to find cures for diseases such as Parkinson's and motor neuron disease along with breakthroughs in technology that can make a difference to people with disabilities. Jo?
We're proud to say that Australia is a world leader in this field. Our scientists and medical pioneers are second to none. I mean, 2 Queensland-based scientists developed the world's first vaccine to prevent cervical cancer. It prevents the HPV infection and will save millions of lives in the future.
The innovations keep coming, Jo. How about this? A groundbreaking new gadget that lets people with upper limb paralysis text, email and control computers using nothing but their minds, and it's been developed here at the University of Melbourne.
Oh, it's just incredible, Darcy. And one of the cruelest side effects of MND especially is that people lose their ability to communicate. And this device has unimaginable power to transform so many lives, including that of Melbourne man Phil O'Keefe.
6 years ago, Victorian Phil O'Keefe was diagnosed with motor neuron disease.
My particular variant affects my upper limbs, upper torso, so my arms, my shoulders, upper back and my chest. My legs still function, I can still walk around, but in terms of lifting things up or holding things, I've lost all strength and all dexterity in my fingers. So I really can't do a lot of things I would normally do. And as the disease progresses, obviously it gets worse and worse and worse.
Ever since his diagnosis, Phil has been determined to seize any opportunities that come his way. So he was the ideal volunteer to test out a groundbreaking device developed by the University of Melbourne and US company Synchron. A tiny brain implant designed to allow people with paralysis to control technology using nothing but their thoughts.
So what we've done is we've got a device called the stentrode. It's got sensors on it. It's inserted through the jugular vein in the neck, and similar to methods and existing procedures to remove blood clots, the device is pushed through a tube up to the area of interest, in our case the motor cortex. The device is deployed, and when it's deployed from a very small tube, it self-expands so that it can push the electrodes or the sensors that are going to record neural information against the vessel wall. And then the device is held to a wireless transmitter that's implanted under the skin in the chest. And when the participant thinks about performing an action the same way you and I would, we can pick up these signals and then we wirelessly transmit them out of the body and then interpret these and use them as commands to control computers or assistive technology.
At the time, it was clearly described to me that this is not going to benefit me. They're not going to put me into this trial so they can help me with my life. This trial is about, can we put this device into a human being, and can we do it safely, and will it work? Anything above and beyond that will be a bonus. It's a clinical trial, so the benefit for this is for those who will come later on. This is a chance to give back. And I think my father often spoke about you owe society, so I've never did that. You owe back to the people to give.
In April last year, Phil had the stentrode successfully implanted into his brain at the Royal Melbourne Hospital.
Can you minimise all the stuff on the screen for me?
Every week since then, researchers have visited Phil to record his brain signals and translate them into computer algorithms.
When someone thinks about moving or performing a different action, part of their brain becomes more active than other parts. And we're measuring the change in activity. And if, for example, someone wants to move their arm, then the arm region of their brain becomes activated, and we can pick that up and see and interpret that, yes, they're trying to move their arm because there's more activity in that region.
In my case, my left ankle was the best signal to pick up. So they've written an algorithm that says, when Phil goes to tap his left ankle, make a mouse click.
So he's pressing this button that's in his head now, abstractly.
After a full year of experiments,
Down and up.
Phil's bionic brain is far exceeding early expectations.
I've responded to emails, obviously. I've done online banking, so I paid bills via it. I've gone to websites, news websites, for instance, and scrolled through articles. There hasn't been a day gone by where I haven't gone, We took big strides today. That was a good session. We learned something today about how this can and can't work.
So Phil's going to turn the lights on in this room.
Recently, Phil had smart switches installed in his house,
Hey, light turns on.
which means he can even turn the lights on without touching a thing.
It's mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. And to think that we've just scratched the surface of what we could possibly do with this. Being able to turn the lights on or off. Imagine when they get this technology completely portable and completely right, that you could be confined to a chair, you could be at home alone, you could turn your lights on or off as needs be, turn your heater on, turn your aircon on, turn your TV on, turn your kettle on, make a cup of hot coffee or something. You be able to control your house the way that you and I normally do control our house by being able to just think about doing that. It's just, space age stuff. It really, really is.
The Stentrode has now been successfully trialled by 4 Victorians with motor neuron disease, and researchers hope this is just the beginning. Eventually, this technology could be used to control electronic wheelchairs, vehicles, or even robotic limbs.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like sci-fi. I think we're certainly excited with how it's gone. We'll be expanding the trial from Victoria to other Australian states, expanding over into the US and certainly trying to help a large number of people with paralysis of many different types. If there's any reason why the brain can't connect to the body, then we have an opportunity that we might be able to restore that for them.
It's just so exciting to see it in action. And to have the opportunity to be involved in that, yeah, it's great. It really is. Loving every minute of it.
Researchers have been blown away with the results of the trials, Jo, and they're hoping that the Stentrode device could be used to treat people with Parkinson's and epilepsy down the track.
It is amazing to think that not so long ago we couldn't imagine texting a friend. Now it's our major form of communication, and it is kind of like telepathy when you think about it, isn't it?
So, Gerald, very serious question for you. Broccoli or cauliflower?
Why do I get all the tough questions, Hinsey? Is it broccoli or broccoli? Is it cauliflower or cauliflower? Either way, they're both full of nutrients. They're both so good for you. Cauliflower's got a little more fibre. Imagine cauliflower in a roast covered with white sauce, a little bit of brown on the top. Broccoli, so full of nutrients. Little kids grab it and it's almost like eating tree food. Probably my favourite, broccoli, I think, in a wok. That's probably best. But there's cauliflower that we can have. There's cauliflower in casseroles.
We are back in the House of Wellness kitchen where GQ and I are dedicated to bringing you recipes that make your body sing. And today we're focusing on making a particular organ very happy, the liver.
Hinsey, it's the largest solid organ in our body and responsible for our metabolic processes. Things like digesting carbs and fats, detoxing our body, and also for the production of bile, which helps us digest and absorb all of our nutrients.
So you're telling me that we could be eating all the healthy food in the world, but unless our liver is functioning optimally, we're not going to absorb the good benefits?
Exactly, but that's where the world of herbal medicine comes to the rescue, in the form of milk thistle, a herb related to the daisy and native to the Mediterranean.
I'm sold, because so much health goodness comes out of that region.
And milk thistle is no different. It's been used in traditional Western herbal medicine for many years to support liver function, actually help with our detoxification processes, and also to offset those digestive discomforts like indigestion, bloating, constipation.
Thanks for putting that mental image in my mind whilst cooking, GQ. But unfortunately, milk thistle isn't the type of ingredient you can cook with, so I've gone with the next best thing, cauliflower, for these crispy cauliflower nuggets. Now, the cauliflower is actually part of the cruciferous family, along with broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and they all protect the liver against damage. Now, these need to get into the oven.
And whilst you're right about milk thistle not being a common herb in the pantry, it is available in supplement form.
Well, that's great news. Now treat yourself to one of my liver-loving nuggets.
Watch me.
Good catch. The A to Z of vitamins is brought to you by Go Healthy. For healthy energy and vitality, try New Zealand's #1 premium supplement. Now available in Australia. You know what, GQ? I don't mind kicking in a few extra bucks for any service, really, especially if it goes back to people or helps the environment. What do you reckon?
I'm with you. I'd like to think that society is getting kinder all round, and that includes our attitudes to the planet.
Well, industries feel the same and are responding with plant-based ingredients and recyclable solutions.
There's a reason we all want skin as smooth as a baby's bottom. But with this immature skin, babies are also at increased risk.
Baby's skin is more vulnerable than adult skin because it's still undergoing functional and structural maturation, which starts at the moment of delivery and ends in the first year of life. So baby's skin is thinner compared to adults. Basically, the most superficial layer of the skin, called epidermis, is 20% thinner, which results in increased permeability and consequent dryness.
Dr. Lara Trindade knows baby skin health, not just as a paediatric dermatologist, but also as a new mum.
I have always been interested in baby's skin, but I guess with my baby Noah, he is now 14 weeks old, I have the perfect opportunity to put into practice all the advice I usually give to parents and confirm how essential effective skin care is to maintain my baby's skin healthy.
So there were a couple of really key important things for me when I was looking for skincare products for Andre Paul. So the first was that it was dermatologically certified.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, I would look for it for myself. So, yeah, it makes sense that I'd look for it for a little baby as well. Yeah.
Correct. And you can see how happy he is that we did.
Okay, ladies, so obviously I'm coming in as an outsider. You've got your two little bubs here and Mum's cooking away. So I'm really curious to hear your tips about baby skincare. I mean, I love essential oils as an adult, so it's something that's got essential oils in it, like possibly, you know, chamomile or lavender, or I've heard that harakiki from New Zealand is really, really great on your skin.
I was definitely looking for something more in the plant-based range.
Yeah.
And for me, for skincare products, especially for Eli's, I try to look at the label and see what's listed first, because obviously the first ingredient is what's the most, and I want it to be water.
For bath time, I recommend appropriate baby cleansers that should be soap-free, and liquid would be the best option. Always remembering to look for products designed for sensitive skin. So laundry detergents can contain dyes, fragrances, and this can trigger conditions like irritant or allergic contact dermatitis, including atopic eczema. So laundry detergents should be free of fragrances and dyes. I recommend to buy liquid laundry detergents as they dissolve more easily in the washer. It is also interesting to consider an extra rinse after the end of each cycle, as it can ensure complete detergent removal.
A little tip, if they go and visit mother-in-law or, you know, make sure that if they do laundry, that they don't use their detergent as well. Bring your own.
Okay. I mean, it's always going to wash the clothes, but there's something that I always look for in terms of packaging. You know, I want to make sure that the packaging is recyclable.
There is definitely a lot of washing that happens. Second of all, I think it's important to trial the products that you would like to use on your baby on yourself, whether it be the washing detergent as well as the skincare.
Yeah.
I think it's like anything, taking care of your hair, your own skin, it's just doing exactly the same for your baby.
Absolutely, and I think it's just another measure of health.
Yeah.
You know, you look after his skin just like you look after everything else. And I think, you know, healthy skin, healthy body, healthy system, you know.
And then it's easy, right?
Yes.
They just raise themselves. Yeah.
Well, International Guide Dog Day is happening this week. You can see Jo, we're holding the beautiful Lance here. These dogs are truly extraordinary and they deserve their own special day, I think. And you and I are both big dog lovers, Jo, so we're thrilled to welcome Guide Dog Ambassador and puppy raiser too, I believe, Alex Hecker. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Good to see you, Alex. Guide dogs have been helping vision-impaired Australians since 1951. Hopefully this one's going to be the next in line. They make an extraordinary difference in the lives of people that have low vision. What's the biggest impact in your mind that these dogs have?
I think, as you mentioned, they make such a huge impact to people living with low vision or blindness. In particular, they give them back their independence and make them feel safe out in the community, and that's just such a special gift that these little guys can provide.
We do lots of stories on assistance technology. We recently did a story about a smart cane being developed in London. Why are dogs still the best help out there?
Well, firstly, I mean, who can say no to that little face there? The companionship that these guys bring to a person living with low vision or blindness, but also there's a thing called learned disobedience with guide dogs, and that's something that a cane just cannot replace. So if there's, say, an obstacle up ahead, they can actually perform a specific stop, and even if the handler goes to go forward and tells them to go forward, they will actually disobey on purpose to make sure that the handler is safe. And that's just incredible that they can do that. The intelligence of these dogs is absolutely amazing.
Genius, isn't it? I can feel the jealousy of Jo, knowing that I'm holding Lance very, very tightly here, Jo. Now, Alex, talk us through the assessment process and the sort of traits this little man needs to have to get through.
So the puppy's born into one of the state-of-the-art guide dog facilities around the country. After about 8 weeks of being at this facility, the pup will then go into one of the homes of one of our volunteer puppy raisers, which is what I did a couple of years ago as well. So the puppy raiser has the pup for about 12 to 14 months of the initial stages, and then they go on to their guide dog assessment. So in this assessment, the guide dog trainers are going to be looking for trainability. The dog has to have the desire to work as a guide dog, as well as physicality and temperament, which is most important. Obviously, they have to have a beautiful temperament, which most of the guide dogs do. As you can see, they're just such beautiful dogs. If they are successful as a guide dog potential, then they will actually go into the program and take part in a 5-month intensive program with one of the guide dog instructors. And they can also, per dog, do up to about 80 training sessions before the dog's then actually matched with the handler.
So sometimes the puppies don't actually quite make it as a guide dog, is that correct?
Some dogs just don't want to be guide dogs, so then they are reclassified in other jobs such as pets as therapy dogs, PTSD dogs, autism dogs, and then also there are a few that return to their puppy raisers or become pets in the community as well.
Hey, Alex, I think the hardest thing must be handing a puppy like this back after you've had it at your house for a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it is a really sad day, but I think the most important thing is to look at the bigger picture. So you're not giving the dog back, you're giving the dog forward onto the next chapter in their life. And being able to be a part in giving someone back their independence and providing safety in the community.
You're okay. You're okay.
That's the most important thing. And you do prepare for it from the day that you get the pup. So yes, it is really, really difficult, but there's always the next puppy. So once you hand one back, a lot of puppy raisers do actually go on to the next puppy and begin the journey all over again.
Has there ever been a situation where someone's refused to hand one back?
No, there's so much support provided by not only the Guide Dogs organisation, but also the puppy raising community. There's some really fantastic people in the community and the support provided is absolutely incredible.
How are they named? Alex, how did you come up with Lance?
So Lance is part of the L litter and all of the pups are actually, the litters are alphabetically named. So Lance and his siblings would all have L names as well. And no two dogs have the same name in the program. So Lance is the only one of his kind currently in the guide dog program. And there's actually a lady who, that's her job, is just to name the puppy. So what a job that would be.
I would love that job. So how do you match a dog with someone who needs a dog?
They do match the handler's personality to a dog's temperament, as well as I said, the activity level. So if the dog is more of an active type of dog, they will go to a handler who is more of an active person. So it is a little bit of a matchmaking process, but it also is very important because a guide dog will stay with their handler for sort of 8 to 10 years, and it has to be a really good bond based on trust and a true connection.
Well, I'd like to buy shares in Lance. I'm backing. He's going to pass in flying colours. I'm just thinking if I brought him home, I'd be Father of the Year, Joe. If I could find a way to do it. Alex, thanks for coming in today and sharing with us your passion for guide dogs. You're a great ambassador for the cause, and hopefully Lance gets through.
Fingers crossed. He looks like he might. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jade and I'm all about the latest beauty, hair and makeup trends.
And I'm Polly Harding, and working in radio, I've still got a lot to learn about the beauty biz.
Together, we're going to bust those beauty myths,
strip things back to basics, and learn a few new tricks in the process.
PJ, foundation is so important, yet so many people get it wrong.
Including myself. I'm 30 years old and I still haven't nailed it. And I'm a really tactile person. I love hugging. So sometimes I get that awkward transfer onto a white shirt when I go on for the hug.
I always do that to my husband, which is why I'm loving Maybelline New York Superstay Active Wear up to 30 hours foundation.
So it can be quite overwhelming when selecting a foundation. Some things I look for is that they are light, so it doesn't feel heavy and clog all your pores when you apply it. I also look for it to be water resistant, transfer resistant. Foundation can often oxidize, it can become darker, it can wear off a little bit. So it's really important, I think, when you're applying your foundation to have a long wear foundation, so that way you're not constantly touching up.
I've chosen shade 36, which is Warm Sun, and it's really easy to just directly apply it to your skin.
Because sometimes your skin actually feels like you can't move it properly when it's really heavy.
Well, people think that with matte foundation, but this is still hydrating, so you can work and build this coverage up.
I've learned so much with you in foundation.
I love foundation. I love a good base.
And I love that Maybelline New York have thought of all different skin shades. It's not there to mask your beauty, purely enhance it.
So Maybelline are that confident with the new Superstay foundation that if you try it at home and you are not 100% happy, they actually have a money-back guarantee.
So I've tried it today. I love it.
So unfortunately, no money back for you.
Oh.
But you have a perfect foundation that you can wear every day.
Winning.
Welcome back, Joe. Well, to copy a question asked in the movie Screen, what is your favourite scary movie?
Oh, no, I don't do scary movies. No interest whatsoever in scary movies. Do you like them?
No, I'm with you. I'm not a massive fan. In fact, I'm not a fan. I don't watch them. It doesn't interest me.
I don't know why people would find that fun, to be absolutely terrified. Where's the joy in that?
Daz does.
Oh, Daz loves them. Hence, I'm upstairs, he's downstairs, where the telly is.
Well, psychologists say when you watch a horror film, you get a shot of adrenaline. It's based on that fight or flight response that kicks in if we're in real danger. And while scary movies or things that generally do scare us are one thing, very few people enjoy having a peaceful night's sleep disturbed by a bad dream, Joe.
They say most people have nightmares at least sometime in their sleeping life and that they tend to decrease as we get older. But in kids, they're part of normal childhood development and aren't a sign that anything is seriously wrong.
Nightmares, though, are different to night terrors, which can be pretty full-on awakenings that happen during the first few hours of sleep.
Yeah, they affect around 5% of kids and are just as terrifying for parents who see their child in distress. A few weeks back, we met leading London sleep specialist Dr Guy Leschziner. Here he is again with how to banish any unwelcome boogeymen at bedtime.
You know, there are, in children in particular, there are really two types of what we traditionally call nightmares. There are the nightmares that we as adults experience, which are these dreams of a narrative structure that are unpleasant. Sometimes they can be associated with a little bit of anxiety, or sometimes they can be associated, particularly in adults, with something that's disrupting REM sleep or dreaming sleep. But for the most part, they are not of any great significance. In children, what's very common is something called night terrors. So these are experiences in the middle of the night where the child will appear to be incredibly distressed, will be interacting with their parent, will be shouting or screaming, but actually the following morning will have no recollection whatsoever of having had one of these. And these are actually a variant of sleepwalking. There's something called a non-REM parasomnia, are entirely different. They're incredibly common in childhood.
So if I'm a parent with a child that has night terrors, is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing is to remember that actually these night terrors are much more distressing for the parent than they are for the child. Most children have absolutely no recollection of having had a night terror. In night terrors, what we think is happening is that certain parts of the brain are very wide awake, parts of the brain, for example, responsible in emotion, in fear, whereas other parts of the brain are deep asleep. And one of the parts of the brain that's very deep asleep is the part of the brain that's responsible for memory, which is why children often have very little memory of this. So just simply understanding the fact that whilst it's very distressing for you, for your child it's not distressing, helps enormously. The key thing is to provide reassurance and to guide the child back to bed as quickly as possible. Now, in children, we tend to avoid medication as much as possible because the likelihood is that most children will grow out of these relatively quickly. There are some things that can be done. For example, if somebody is having very regular night terrors that is causing a huge amount of disruption, which is called anticipatory awakening. So if you know that your child is very likely to have a sleep terror at, say, midnight, then briefly waking them about 20 minutes before midnight is actually a very useful way of trying to prevent that, because what that does is it disrupts their first or second period of very deep sleep, and hopefully will have some impact on the likelihood of this arising. But I'm afraid that in many cases it's just a situation that you have to await to pass.
Do kids grow out of having nightmares?
Yeah, the vast majority of children will grow out of it. You know, these kinds of phenomena of extreme sleepwalking, of night terrors, of sleep eating, these other conditions called non-REM parasomnias, really only persist in about 1 to 2% of adults. So for the vast majority of children, they will disappear, never to resurface.
Welcome back, Jo. We just said goodbye to Alex from Guide Dogs Australia, but we seem to have managed to hang on to this little guy, Lance. And this coming Wednesday is International Guide Dog Day, and you can show your support by donating much-needed funds or even look into raising one of these little guys for yourself, Jo.
Oh, look, he's so beautiful. And you know what? Having trained a Labrador, my Labrador Daisy, I appreciate the skill involved in training these little guys, but also they're a very special breeding program, these sorts of Labradors. They're amazing, the work that's gone into just producing the best kind of dogs for guide dogs.
He's an absolute superstar. He's a ripper. That's it for today, Jo. You can head to our website, houseofwellness.com.au, to catch up on anything we covered today.
Yes, the wonderful Gerald Quigley joins me every Sunday for the House of Wellness radio show, so make sure you tune into that.
And thanks to our very good friends, as always, at Chemist Warehouse. Thanks to Lance. We appreciate you dropping by today, and we'll see you next time on the House of Wellness.